Abdul Rashid Maina's recall and reinstatement to the Federal Civil Service came as a shock to many Nigerians as it was shrouded in secrecy. At least that's what it seems.
Indeed, and Nigerians are still talking about it. Now, his recall made many Nigerians furious and the media was full of stories about him. All of these forced President Muhammadu Buhari to sack the embattled Maina to the delight of many.
But it is still unclear how he made it back into the country and the civil service after he fled the country 4 years ago for his role in 100 billion naira pension fraud. Till date, Abdul Rashid Maina remains wanted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Well, we have a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Kennedy Osunwa, in the studio with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good morning, Nigerians.
So what do you make of where this Maina gate is going? Allegations, counter-allegations, accusations, back and forth. We brought him back. No, we didn't. And which make sense of all of this for us?
Well, I want to state clearly that the issue of Abdul Rashid Maina is an issue that calls for government decisive action, because there's a lot of mysteries beclouding this issue, and it is time that the appropriate agencies, demystify this mystery, because this is a man that has been away. We know he's a civil servant, a man that enjoyed an employment of statutory flavor. But about 3 or 4 years ago, he been away, from his duty post. And the EFCC has equally been looking for him to answer some corruption cases that is pending for his questioning. But however, all of a sudden, the man
shows
from nowhere now is reinstated. The question is, who reinstated him?
That's a question everybody's been asking.
The question
and nobody
is,
seems
who
to have an answer.
reinstated him?
Yeah.
And what are the criteria? The EFCC beam light that has been on him, has that been settled?
And then constitutionally, who has the power to even reinstate him in the first place and then even be promoted?
That's why I said earlier that he's a man that enjoys an employment of statutory flavor. And an employment of statutory flavor is regulated by certain laws. And before such man will be reinstated, there are rules and procedures from the civil service for his reinstatement. And we didn't hear all that. We didn't even hear about his investigation. We didn't hear about his arraignment, because I know by incursion of Section 36, he's still deemed innocent till the contrary is proved. But it is the court of a competent jurisdiction that will prove his innocence or his guilt. So when the EFCC investigates, he must be arraigned where there is reasonable suspicion of crime or allegation of corruption. Then a court of competent jurisdiction will now look at all that and then either pronounce him guilty or innocent. And I don't think that we have seen that played out.
Well, they're saying that he's because he fought pension thieves, and that is why he's being persecuted by the media and by the generality of Nigerians. And of course, we've heard his supporters talking that he's somehow clean, that he didn't steal all this money. And then remember that there were attempts on his life.
The question is, why is he at large? A clear conscience fears no accusation.
But is it possible that he doesn't have confidence in the judiciary based on the powerful people who may want him out, and the judiciary.
Why would you not be confident with the judiciary?
Well, that's another question.
Is he not one of the powerful Nigerians?
Well, very good question. But let's even take it back to the very beginning. Only recently, David Mark, former Senate president, came out to say that the Senate actually gave former President Goodluck Jonathan 2-day ultimatum to take to sack Maina. Otherwise, they would have to invoke sections of the law, the Constitution, that allows them to,
sack him as a chairman of the task force,
what David
or
Mark,
sack him as a man enjoying a contract of employment with statutory flavor?
Okay, well, very important questions. But then again, it gives the impression that the former President Goodluck Jonathan was actually reluctant to sack Maina based on the allegations that were before him and, of course, the Senate.
Well, of course. Maina, wherever he is, he needs to come out and clear himself. Whether he's innocent or he will be pronounced guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction.
In spite of the fact that his life is under threat, he had been shot at twice, at least twice, that we know.
There is no one under the rule of law. There is no one that is above the law. He should come. There are a lot of apparatus constitutionally put in place for his protection.
But it seems to him, well, and to many really that are on the fence on this matter, that he's already being persecuted by the public. He's being persecuted somehow by so many people, and so many people even in the government. So, like she said earlier, he could be afraid to come out to say that, because recall when he was the head of the pension task force, the amount demanded to pay pensioners was lower, or was even higher than what he requested for, meaning that, are we looking at Maina the way Nigerians are supposed to look at him, or there is more to this than meets the eye? That's
why I told you that by the provisions of Section 36 of 1999 Constitution as amended.
What does it say?
A presumption of innocence.
Until proven guilty.
Until proven guilty. So, as it is, even though EFCC is constitutionally empowered to investigate him, to question him, and where necessary, arraign him, even all that, he is still presumed innocent by the law. So all what he needs to do is to come out. He cannot continue to hide.
But you would agree that Nigeria's case is a peculiar one. I mean, it's one thing to have, you know, there's niceties on paper, but in reality, it's a totally different ball game.
It is still the law. Is still what it is. The apparatus of the law is still functional.
Okay, are we making sense of some of the allegations that Maina raised? So I don't forget. He says that since 1976 till date, according to Maina, that the Nigerian government has spent 5.5 trillion naira on pension funds without being accounted for.
Yes.
Since 1976.
The question is this. He was the chairman of the task force.
Yeah, he was brought in to clean up the mess in the pension fund.
Yes.
Yes.
What did he do? And if Nigeria has spent such amount that he claims, why is it that pensioners are still dying without receiving their pensions?
But then Maina is just one person in the system.
And again, that is just his own opinion. Has he been tested? But however it is, whatever is the mystery, like I said, he is still presumed innocent. And that law is in his favor. If people like Evans the kidnapper could come out and have protection under that law, and he was not killed, he passed through police investigation and was arraigned in court. I think what Maina should do is to get his team of lawyers and appear, answer every question that borders on his credibility,
now,
that borders on his integrity.
Okay, and then there is a question of the will on the part of the EFCC to even carry this out, because it seems that the EFCC is acting now because of the public outcry.
Well, it is not even only now. As far as I know, the EFCC searchlight has been on him.
In the past,
yes.
Then he left the country, but now that he got reinstated mysteriously.
Mysteriously, it's even a mystery. It's even a mystery to EFCC themselves.
That is part of the executive. It's even a mystery
that he was reinstated. And that is why EFCC has to come out, step into the arena, and start, hunting for him and his properties.
Don't you think EFCC should re-strategize, maybe meet with him behind closed doors, look for him first? Because Maina is saying that if he starts talking, many public figures in the country will
let him talk. That's what we want. Nigerians want him to talk. It is high time he talks. It is like high time Nigerians hear the truth, so that we don't hear this story this way and the other story this way. Let him come out.
So now the EFCC had their searchlight on Abdulrasheed Maina.
Yes.
Interpol searchlight was on him.
Yes.
And possibly all the other security operatives.
Yes.
Yet Abdulrasheed Maina was able to spirit back into the country. With security detail, he's had security detail all this while. And only until the online newspaper broke the story, then EFCC, wakes up and begins to look for Abdulrasheed Maina's houses, lock them down, and now they're telling us, yes, we will get to the bottom of this by all means possible.
And building on that, he was protected, and then later on EFCC said that it was looking for him. And he was under protection at that time.
Now, I want you to see this. You see, the EFCC or any law enforcement agents, they are not spirits. They work with intelligence. They do a lot of intelligence gathering and information. It all depends. I'm not speaking for them. I'm not their mouthpiece. But for all I know, as a litigation lawyer, I know that you need facts. You need informations.
So there's a possible intelligence failure here. That's what we're dealing with. Now, the AGF, Attorney General Malami, has said that the reinstatement of Maina was done in the national interest. And then on the other hand, you have a president who quickly removes him because of the public outcry. What do we make of, how do we juxtapose all of this? If it was in the national interest, what is it that Abubakar Malami knew that the public does not? Yes.
If it's in the national interest, why would President Buhari, why would President Buhari sack him immediately?
But there was a leaked memo.
And then if the AG, with the greatest respect to him, if the AG says that his reinstatement is in the interest of Nigerians,
yes,
is that an admission that, yes, they reinstated him? Is that an admission to say, I know how and I know who reinstated him? And all this, the interest that their action is protecting is the same interest, public interest, that wants to know how he was instated and who reinstated him.
Until now, nothing.
And up to now,
anyway,
that has not been demystified.
Now, there's another twist to this whole story about a leaked memo from Oyoita, the head of service, to the president, where she stated that she actually warned Mr. President about reinstating Abdulrasheed Maina. Now, that is in the public space, and it's causing another, heated debate. What do we make of all of this?
Well, like I said earlier, I said that there's a lot of mysteries, beclouding Maina saga. And why did I say so? This is one of the issues that has been raised, where the head of service will come up, with a memo to say that that she warned Mr. President. Are they now inferring that it is the Mr. President that directed for the reinstatement of Maina? Is it an indictment? And I call speedily for the Mr. President's intervention to clear this ungodly and unholy assertion, because it is not going down well with Nigerians. And I want to know, the president came up and said, I have sacked this man. Another memo is coming up to say the president reinstated this man.
I was warned.
Where are we?
All right, let's even look at this. Senator Kabiru Gaya in 2016 made a public statement and said that it was part of the 6th and 7th Assembly, that during his stay at the National Assembly, in the 7th Assembly, he was part of a panel that probed the pension scandal and all that. And in fact, it was discovered that the 195 billion naira linked to Maina is stashed in the TSA, that the man is innocent. But nobody is talking about that, and what the family is referring to that as well, that a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria said that, yet Maina is seen as blacker than the devil himself.
That is why I said that the man is still, the presumption of innocence is still in his favor. And the earliest time he comes out to clear the air is better for him and better for Nigerians. No matter what anybody comes to tell us, there is an accusation. And with those accusations, he cannot react or answer them in limbo. He must come out and speak to Nigerians and answer questions that comes or that forms an offshoot.
But for someone that is feeling persecuted already, that is saying that he is innocent, that some public figures, some well-to-do figures in the society are the ones that are after him. Yeah, after him. So how confident would such person be to come out and put himself, his life, on that has been targeted many times, not even once?
Like, it has become a public issue. Even if that
happens,
even if that is his fear, you know, initially or previously, now it is a public issue. Anybody presumed to be after him must tread on part of caution. Like I said earlier on, I said he should employ a team of lawyers. Let him come out. Let Nigerians know that he's out. Wherever the security agencies will keep him, let Nigerians know.
Okay.
Through his lawyers.
Yes, that point very well taken. Let's look at the broader implication of all of this, whether it's Maina, even Magu. There's a latest outcry from Magu about some faceless cabal who are planning to set him up. I'm sure that might just take away from the debate over Maina to another debate, because that seems to be the trend. You know, give it 2 weeks. Whatever, no matter how controversial the issue is, it just blows over, and then we go on to another matter. Is corruption audacious under this administration? What if at the end of the day we discover that Maina is actually a hero or a villain? How would it impact on this anti-corruption war of this government?
Well, without mixing words, you and I, we know that the anti-corruption war or the drive in this government and with Magu has done better than the previous governments. But having said that, that's why each time I refer to that law, is a constitutional provision, and it protects whosoever that has been alleged to have committed a crime to remain innocent till the contrary is proved.
But it has not been the case in the issue of Dasuki, former National Security Advisor, whom the court, ECOWAS court, and different courts have, you know, ruled that he should be at least granted bail. But he's still under, you know, he's still in custody.
Yes.
2 years or so after.
Dasuki is entitled to bail. It is a constitutional requirement and his constitutional right.
Yet he's not on bail.
But he's not on bail. And then the government is saying that he is in protective custody.
And then the Shiite leader as well, El Zakzaki, we can go on and on.
That is in protective custody.
Yes.
Well, it is the government that needs to tell us what they meant by protective custody.
His lawyer is already saying that he's suffering from loss of memory. So how protective has the custody been?
Constitutionally,
yes,
the government themselves has the duty to ensure that the security of every citizen is guaranteed. So if the government is hiding or saying that, okay, yes, the man is entitled to bail, but because of the circumstances of his case, you know, there are a lot of people that are indicted. Recently, the former President Goodluck Jonathan has been ordered by the judge trying Meto's case, that he should be compelled to come and
as
give
a
evidence.
Witness.
To come and give evidence, yes, because he's a compellable witness.
Okay, but let's now, yes, but now we need to go back now to Maina so we don't lose track of what we're saying. Yes. Maina recently, yes, just a few weeks ago, a few days ago, through the spokesperson of his family, said that in fact he has overwhelming evidence, verifiable evidence that the federal pension scheme is going back to its looting era.
Nigerians are in need of that evidence. Nigerians.
Well, it seems to him that Nigerians don't even trust him.
No, in fact, it is that evidence that will earn him the trust. If Nigerians do not trust him, and he has overwhelming evidence, let him come out. That is the substratum of my submissions this morning.
And it takes me back to the question I asked. If Maina turns out to be a hero at the end of the day, and I wonder when that will be, how, you know, how long it will take for us to come to that point to discover whether he's a hero or a villain. What is the implication on this anti-corruption war or fight?
Well, like I said before, the implication is very simple. Any man, any woman, any citizen can, on a suspicion, the Constitution says reasonable suspicion to have committed a crime, you are subject to investigation. But once that reasonable suspicion has been proved to the contrary, that you are not. Okay.
Because of time, quickly now, because the director says we have to wrap up. Maina is suggesting to the president himself that he should set up a high-level committee, investigative committee, to probe all pending pension fraud cases in the country. That if he does that, it will be found out that he, Maina, is innocent, and many people will be fingered.
Fine. You see, that suggestion is okay. But, however, he cannot be hiding to set a machinery that will restore his integrity. So what the government needs to do in the whole gamut of this Maina circumstance is the president must ensure that he's still in control, that he's still in charge. Once the president can, you know, let us know. It's not that the president said this today, tomorrow, right from that presidency or from the government with another thing.
And then it brings to mind again so the allegation.
Let the president take charge
against the cabal in the presidency.
And let the mysteries be clouding Maina's case be demystified.
All right, thank you very much, Kennedy Osunwa. You're a lawyer and a public affairs analyst. Thank you for your analysis on the Maina scandal still developing in the country.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Femi Adesina has said. It's still an unraveling matter, and it will not be swept under the carpet, according to Femi Adesina.